What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We're gonna be speaking on the Sagittarius. Excuse me. We're gonna be speaking on the Sagittarius for this video. We're gonna be speaking on a slight description of them. So listen in. So it's represented by the Centaur, a half human, half horse. The sign Sagittarius is the magnificent archer of the zodiac. Sagittarius are skilled at bringing life's major issues into full perspective. Very generous and jovial, they will give the shirt off their back to anyone in need. Because of this, Sagittarius must be careful of overextending themselves and being too quick to make decisions. Ruled by the planet Jupiter, they are ready and willing to have a good time and can often forget about their responsibilities. They have an uncanny ability to land on their feet in tough circumstances, right? Just a slight description. We're going to be speaking from the soul's journey, all right? And let's begin. Okay, here we go. Sagittarius. What we have for the Sagittarius. All right, the first card we have for you guys is love. I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things, right? So they want you guys to see the good in all things. They want you guys to commit to love or having compassion. Now, it doesn't mean, of course, be practical. It doesn't mean that you just, go through life like everything is sweet and everybody's nice. Of course, it's not. Just like you have good energy, you have bad energy around as well. But it just means the mentality of you needs to be seeking the good in things, like seeing good out of things, if that makes sense. Like, okay, you went through a situation, or you had bad parents, or you had a bad friend, or you went through all of these negative dramas and situations in your life. Now it's time to use that as teaching moments. Instead of looking at it as to say, oh, this is negative, this is messed up, I'm going to carry this with me. But you're going to use it as a teaching moment to say, okay, now I know how to treat my kids, or at least I know how to be a better friend to my next friend, or I know how to be a better partner to my relationship. Things like that, right? So just moving with love. Moving forward, I should say. All right. Next what do we have for the Sagittarius? Next one we have is abundance. I am a limitless being and I can manifest whatever I desire in this physical reality, right? Keep that in mind. Of course, you got to think practical in a sense, how much things that you can desire. For an example, when I say that is because if you want a yacht, right? And this yacht, like I'm talking physical things, right? Wait for the plane. Or if you want a plane, right? Let's say you want a plane. Okay, the plane takes people with labor to make a plane, right? You should be willing to pay people, right? Because I mean, if you was working to build a plane, you would want to be paid too, right? So if they take this is more of a monetary gain. So with monetary gain, you would need monetary funds. If you're in a position that doesn't grant you with unlimited monetary things, like you have a set paycheck, you have a set things, then maybe we need to start to make certain moves to come out of situations like that so that we can, gain access to those big, giant, good materialistic items like a plane or a jet or something. So we still got to be practical in a sense, right? Meaning you have the mentality, you have the capability to have the mentality to be abundant, right? If you seek whatever it is you desire, you have the capabilities to be able to put yourself in that energy to go seek abundance. You know what I'm saying? So it's important that you guys use that sense, because just by you just saying things as far as like affirmations, they only work if you put that effort into it. It's kind of like if I talk to you guys about changing an engine. That information I just shared to you about changing an engine is actually invaluable. Sorry, it's unvaluable or invaluable, however they say it, unless you actually put it towards use. If you never change an engine, that same advice I just gave you about changing an engine is equivalent to how to sweep a room. So it's you know what I'm saying? It's only valuable if you use it. Affirmations are only valuable if you're willing to put forth that effort. Just because you say something doesn't mean it's going to just come in thin air, because other things have to take place. Now if you say more spiritual things, now we're talking. If you say, I am good health, I am in great spirits, all of those spiritual things, that's what's up. When it comes down to monetary, physical things, that you have to be taking consideration that it took labor and things like that. So it's the mentality of us, how we decide to think about it, right? And by understanding our limitations, or not just our limitations, but understanding where we stand at, it allows us to use this as energy to go after those certain things. So if nobody's saying you can't get a plane, a cruise ship, and all of that to your name, but you got to be willing to put forth that effort, You know what I'm saying? So just keep that in mind. But again, this is gonna give you the mentality and the energy to be in a limitless being, and that you can manifest whatever you desire in this physical reality, right? Just keep that in mind. Being practical about that. I feel like I have to throw that out there because you have a lot of energies to feel like they can just get whatever they want. Yeah, you can, but you gotta still put forth that effort and still be in the right position at the right time and things like that. And it's all about being optimistic as well, right? You gotta train your mentality to think differently about situations as well, right? And it's also about intention as well. See, a lot of times we don't get things that we want because we don't have the right intentions for them. You know what I mean? Like, if, for example, if people want, let me give an example. I'm trying to think of an example. Trying to think of an example. Okay, let's say people want kids, but they don't really want them to raise them right and things like that. They want them as a fashion statement. Like, I just want a kid just to have a kid. You know what I mean? Maybe they're not gonna have them at that moment because it's not the right time for them. So it could be different situations. Somebody wants a relationship, or somebody wants to engage in activities with a female or with a male, or whatever the case is. They want to engage in adult activities, and that's all they want. They don't want a relationship. So maybe it's hard for them to pick up on a significant other because of that. It's intentions behind it as well. The higher power is really gonna try their best. From what I could see, from my eyes, is from my perspective, is I'm quite sure they got their own little way of holding things off until you're ready for things. So this could be that as well. All right, moving on. We have pride. We have, I love myself and I see myself in everyone, right? Having pride, or just being prideful, just being prideful, right? Being proud of yourself. One of the things that I want to give, like, a personal advice for you guys, is target all your needs and all your desires. Like go through life in a way that you have control. Like, try your best. If you don't have any type of overheads like bills or nothing crazy and things like that, try your best to avoid putting yourself in situations that require your like a lot of, meaning, like, this is what I'm trying to say. You ever heard the statement of, oh, I had kids so I can't do what I wanted to do? See, now we got to change our mentality when we have kids, right? Now it's more about the kids. Now it's more, this is where it comes back to intention. What's the point of you having kids if you can't do for your kids? Because now it's not about you anymore. It's about your kids. So this is the mentality we gotta discuss on. So being prideful and being proud of yourself and things like that, we gotta tap into a different level of spirituality. We gotta tap into looking at things that we can be grateful for. Right? Because at the moment you probably this is another reason why we talk about we're living in the present moment. A lot of times we so focus on what we don't have, we don't focus on what we do have. Before you even get to a goal or a point or wherever you're trying to go in life, you got to focus on what you have. You have to use your tools that are at hand, right? I mean, if we keep talking about, I'm going to wait till I get X, Y, and Z until we make a move, we ain't never going to get there. We got to start being creative. We got to start using our creative mentality. Whether that's at the work that we're at the moment, or that's pretty much it. We just gotta live in the present, and these are all of the different mentalities that we can be proud of ourselves. Because you guys might come up with a lot of, I'm gonna say us collectively, we might come up with a lot of excuses why things are not going the way we wanted to, or we don't. You know what I'm saying? How can we do our best to try to maneuver that energy into the best way possible. 75% you're upset about your situation, at least find 25% where you could be happy. At least, because if you're doing that little bit of thing, at least that shows that you're trying and you're attempting to be to seek out pretty much, I want to say, gratitude, right? You're seeking gratitude, you're showing gratitude towards the universe. The universe sees that, the universe will grant you and will reward you for showing that gratitude. Because sometimes they just want to see that you're grateful. So just be grateful, be proud, show pride in yourself and what you've accomplished and things like that. All right, put that up here. Yeah. Okay, cool. We have Patience. I accept that everything happens in divine order. Remember I talked to you guys just now about things having to be held off for a reason. Sometimes we're not mature enough for these situations yet, or these potential things to happen. Sometimes the spirit team makes us wait a little bit. You know what I mean? So having patience is one of the biggest things. And I always advocate this. Read a book, chill out, live in the present moment, enjoy yourself, do things in the moment. Like say while you're waiting for something to pop off, you're educating yourself, you're bettering yourself, doing anything that could pertain to you bettering yourself. You know what I mean? And then when that situation does come, you're educated, you're ready for it, you're prepared for it, you know, things like that. So just keep that in mind. All right? Having patience. Okay. We have empathy. I am open to seeing both sides of a situation, right? So showing empathy for situations. You might not like an individual. You might feel like they was dead wrong for what they said, but just kind of just work with it. You ain't gotta be next to the energy. You ain't gotta ride with them. You ain't gotta do none of that. But just kind of show like, okay, the move, they're living differently, so they're gonna think differently. Let's just try to pull away from just straight up judging people off the rip. I mean, you are, because you're a human, but you're going to move forward. Like once you judge, okay, catch yourself. Okay, cool. I caught myself. I'm not gonna judge them. I'm gonna move forward, and I'm just gonna kind of respectively say hi and bye type of thing. You know what I mean? If somebody did you wrong, whatever, respectively hi and bye. I don't want to hold that grudge. I want to hold that energy. If you guys ever look at military, they carry like a big satchel, or we call it a burden. Back when I was in my local regiment, where I'm from an island, but man, we're not gonna get too deep into my personal life. But we call it a burden, right? Or burden, right? So it's like the big backpack. Now, when you're like on a like hike or whatever, it can weigh you down a little bit. But as soon as you take it off, it feels so much better. It feels what you feel like you could run, because it's like you're running with it, and then when you take it off, you're so much faster and lighter, because you know that's how life is. If you carry around past pain, it feels like burdens. As soon as you lift it, you know you forgive them, you let it go, you on to big and better things. And now here it is, you see them, they might be still struggling or whatever the case is, if they did you wrong, whatever. Don't like try to rub it in their face. Don't try to like, oh, hee ha ha, look at me now, or you know, don't try to refrain from talking about your blessings. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of just look at it in a way to understand their situation. Okay, they're doing things differently, so they're gonna think differently. You know, it's kind of like, yes, sober, you're the only sober guy in a bar. If somebody's going to, like they say, they say that when you're drinking, you tell the truth, but it still shows uncontrolled, right? Because they can't control what they say. They wouldn't have told you what they said if they were sober. So it just shows uncontrollable emotions, I would say. Because if they basically saying that if they wanted to harm something, they would just do it because, and I'm not saying all drunk people are like this, but I'm just saying if people say that you do things when you're drunk or when you're under the influence that you would normally want to do, it's a scary thing to know that this person is uncontrolled. So if you go into a situation, you're sober and you haven't drank anything, and then you have a drunk person telling you things and blah 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 whatever, and instead of you saying, man, this guy blah, yeah, you know what I'm saying, and really taking it overboard and trying to, and y'all really going at it, you have to have this understanding that, okay, this person's clearly not in control of their emotions or what they're saying to me. Let me just kind of just go away or move away from them, because they're not controlled right now. You're empathizing for their situation as well. So this can prevent a lot of mishaps, a lot of misconception, miscommunication, all of that. Like just look into this situation as well. When people do different, they act different and they think different. So when they do different, they think different, and then thereby acting different. If somebody's drinking and you're not, they're gonna think different thoughts than you're thinking. Then they're going to act differently than you're acting, right? So just keep that in mind. Have empathy for both situations, yours and theirs, so that you can kind of come to a better understanding, a better conclusion. All right. Let's see what else we got for Sagittarius. Oh, we have failure. I understand that a mistake is only an opportunity to learn. excuse me, failure it only means you only fail when you quit. That's the only time failure is even accepted around here. Only when you quit. There's no such thing as real failure unless you quit. It's an opportunity to learn. There was a statement that was said, you tried 4 times to do an activity. All 4 failed, but they didn't fail. That was 4 times that you found out ways that didn't work. So it wasn't that them ways that you didn't find a way that worked, is that you find 4 ways that didn't work. So now you could teach people. It's like think of it like four lane. No, think of it like 6 lanes, right? You know how like Dora, y'all ever seen like Dora, how they have like the path to be like which way to go type of thing, right? Think of it like that. Think of the words of success, like 6 words. You chose 4 of them. All 4 went down on crocodiles, sharks. You have crocodiles, you have sharks. You encountered snakes, you encountered lions. That's 4. 2 of them, random 2, right? It's not like, oh, these are the last 2 on this side. These are like random, right? It's like 1 over her, then it was like 3 that you encountered, and then 1 more type of thing, right? So it's like 2 words a hit. One of your friends say, hey, which word did you go on? You're telling them, I went on that word, failed, right? So 4 failed, and you tell them the situation that you encountered and things like that. What that does is that prevents those people from traveling on that same path. So whenever you see inventions that took place that was failed inventions, more people came across, and these people had to explain to them why these certain situations failed. That's why society is where it is today, because of past situations that we was able to encounter, and we was actually able to improve a lot of different things, right? From the first light bulb to everything else, we've managed to. Now there are some things like the pyramids that we can redo whatever. They said you can, but I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if they can or can't. I just know that I don't really see pyramids where I'm at, or just anywhere in the world. It's like they're in a certain location, and maybe the people that are local there know how to do it. Meaning there's certain information that's not just shared overall around, but for general information like cars and things like that most people are fine with sharing and improving their vehicles and things like that. Those type of things, such as the roads that you traveled on, those type of things can be passed on. That information that was like, hey, don't do this. Like, people know, don't put oil on fire, because why? The fire, or don't put water in grease because it can cause a fire. So all of these different things is what I'm trying to say. So let's say there's a 4 roads you didn't travel on, or you traveled on, you failed at. You can teach the other people, hey, don't go down here. Why? Because and you will avoid redo failure, if that makes sense to you guys, right? So kind of looking at it that way shows you that, hey, this not a failure. This is just an opportunity to learn more. You know, okay, he went down this path, that's 5. Okay, now if it's 5 roads, all of them was unsuccessful, so they say, right? There's just 1 left, so that's got to be the road to take. And then next thing you know, you buy roses and I was going to say roses like cauliflower roses, and just a bunch of banana trees, beautiful, everything, butterflies, everything's cool. So that's my point, right? Looking at situations that you might have not, that used to look at as like, oh, I failed, I messed up. Looking at it as a learning experience, right? Okay. Next. What do we have for the Sagittarius? Sagittarius. We have friendship. I understand that a friend is in my life for a reason, right? So any friendship that you may encounter. Now, this could even be like a coworker. Friendship doesn't have to be like when you was kids or was sleeping over each other's house. We're going to wake up. We're going to play video games. We're going to watch Cartoon Network all night. It ain't got to be like that these days. It could be just an acquaintance. Like, you could literally just see somebody like a neighbor. Hey, what's up, neighbor? Type of thing. Like, I do that all the time. What's up, neighbor? Boom, boom, boom. And y'all having a conversation. That is of a friend. You know what I mean? So it could be situations like that. Everybody has somebody that they associate for a certain reason. No matter what the reason is, there's a reason why that person's in your life. There's a reason why they speak to you every morning. There's a reason why you drive past them on the way to work. There's a reason for all these different things. We got to start tapping in to seek. Why is there that? Like, what could that possibly, what could we gain from that person? I remember when I met one of my neighbors, they shared me about how they garden. So I'm looking at the garden and everything, but what it shared me is, it's possible to garden in my area. Because sometimes when you look around and you just see houses, you're thinking, well, you know what I'm saying, I don't really, the atmosphere ain't right. The weather up here is kind of bad type of thing. It's too windy. It's too quiet. Well, not too quiet, but it's too dry. The sun's too. You kind of, when you're not in that field. Like me personally, I was never in that field when it comes on to gardening, like straight up a farmer or nothing like that. So I'm not too much educated on that. But when you start to see like neighbors or your just the neighbors in general have like gardens and stuff in the yard, it kind of changes your mentality of, okay, it is possible, let me go ahead and try this, right? So that could be somewhat of a situation, right? Learning from people in your area, learning that people do have a reason for being in your life, and every person can teach somebody something. So just keep that in mind. Keep an open mind and an optimistic mindset when it comes on to talking and communicating with people. Okay. We have for Sagittarius. Hold on. Okay, we have freedom. I possess the power and the free will to create my own happiness. I understand that there's certain situations right now that you're probably watching right now that you are at a position where you don't want to be. Now, I understand that. Here's what you need to do. I'm not a financial expert or nothing like that. But try to find ways that you can limit, or you can find ways to either do two things. One, not either, but you could either try to lower your expenses so you can find another gig that probably pays a little bit less so you have a little bit more time to do what you want. Or try to learn as much as possible any little bit of time that you have to be able to make certain arrangements to be able to do what you want, if that makes sense. Meaning if you're working 12-hour shifts and you only have 2 hours a day, you need to sacrifice some of your time for freedom. Towards freedom, I should say. Like, okay, I've got 2 hours. I could watch TV, but I'd rather go and do some research on online businesses or whatever the case is so that I can break away from what I'm doing. Not a financial expert or nothing like that, but I'm just listing the obvious. You got to find ways, and this is really going to show you how serious you are about freedom. I was talking to my twin flame with my wife, however you guys word it, about having time. Time is one of the time. When you have time, you have everything, because with time, you can do anything within your time, right? Now, if you take up that time making money or whatever the case is, you can only do. You can do anything. You can pretty much do a lot with money, but it's still like one or two things. Meaning, like, it ain't really the same. You know what I mean? It ain't really the same. If you have these 24 hours, you can do anything you want in them 24 hours. You ain't really gotta worry too much. Whereas if you trade that time for money, it's kind of different. Like I said, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just listing the obvious. But you gotta be optimistic. You have to be willing to take a chance, take a risk at things. Things are not always gonna be sweet all year round. It's like a business. Every business has you have to start looking at yourself as a business as like the same way you would discipline yourself to get up in the morning and do things you need to do. You should look at your life that way. And yes, the same attitude you should have, because it's an optimistic thinking, like, okay, things are gonna work out. When you kind of start to step forward in that type of situation, your life will begin to look a little different. Meaning, instead of you spending a couple times, you can start a new journey, you would start a page, whatever the case is. I don't know. But remember, you still have to provide value, right? So you still have to put in time to provide value. If you have 30 minutes of your lunch, read a book instead of being on your phone. You know what I mean? Do all of these different things to obtain freedom. Because I talk about freedom, and I feel like, a lot of people don't have freedom, and I understand that. But at the same time, you also got to think that it's possible to have freedom as well. And if you're in a position and you're kind of like acting as if everything's cool, oh, I'm paying bills, so I'm all right, I don't need it. All right, well, then don't talk about freedom. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like we gotta think about that. But yeah, you do possess the power to create free will for your own happiness, right? Even when you're locked on, like when I say locked on, I'm not talking about like prison or nothing, but even when you're locked on in a situation where like you don't get off till a certain time, it's all in the mentality. You know, if you focus too much on the negative spectrums of, you already know these situations, so it's like you already know these situations, what you signed up for, but you're so focused on that, it's gonna drive you crazy. It's gonna make you feel, you're gonna have resentment towards that specific situation, like that company or whatever, when it's not even their fault for real. Like you know what you were signing up for. So we gotta start looking at the positive note. You know what I mean? You gotta look at the positive note, like, okay, after this, I'm gonna just go home and sort out what I need to sort out. Like, let's not let the physical part of it, as far as you not being able to do what you want, deteriorate your future. Like, don't let that prevent you from thinking freedom and thinking how to free yourself, or how to but then again, like I told you, you still have to provide value when it comes down to making money. You still have to provide some sort of value. So you need to spend some time studying or doing whatever you need on whatever journey you decide to do, because no matter, even if you start an online business or whatever, you still have to have some sort of data to back it up. That's the ones that go forth a long journey, and there's nothing better than feeding your brain knowledge. So just keep that in mind when it comes down to being free, because I feel like, you know, you have people that believe that, or they can just break free, and then is it? I mean, you still have to have a, you should still have to have a purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is your goal? You go to teach, learn, do things. What are you gonna do once you leave a certain position? What are you gonna do if you're 24 hours? You see what I'm saying? So just kind of make a plan for it. But again, I'm not a financial expert, enough like that. I'm just giving my personal thoughts on this specific card. But yeah, you do have the power to possess freedom. It's mentally first, and then it starts to manifest into physical. That's gonna finish up the video for the Sagittarius. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and I will see you guys on the next video.